Welcome to the Super Sentai Brothers. This is the wrap-up episode of Licensed to Carranger, the internet's best and only podcast dedicated to Gekisou Sentai Carranger. Every week we have been watching an episode of the show and sharing our thoughts about it with you, the listeners. And this is our sort of, it's our victory lap of sorts, Dave.
Yeah, Matt, it is. And it feels real good. This is actually one of my favorite episodes that we do every year. The only thing that bums me out about it is that we can only do one per year because it necessitates watching. I like watching the show,
yeah.
But it necessitates watching an entire season just to do this one episode. So that's
On the one hand, this is the episode where it's the easiest to do because there wasn't an episode that we had to watch. And we don't do the 5 stars. We just hop right in and start recording.
That we had to watch.
Right, but there were 48 episodes that we had to watch.
Yeah, so if this is your first season with us...
we got to watch.
We got to watch, that we delighted in watching. So as I said, if this is your first season with us, how we kind of do this is it's just it's a retrospective episode. So we kind of take a look and...
It is a freewheeling conversation.
Yeah, it certainly
is. Get it, Dave?
Because
of cars?
Oh, because of Carranger. Sorry, Matt. I didn't process that. And I'm not laughing at the joke itself. I am laughing that you made the joke because it
should
was
be laughing
bad.
at the joke. It's a pretty good joke, actually.
And then we kind of go through and we do some compare and contrast and rank some elements of it against other seasons. Like, how did we like, this versus that? It's a lot of fun. We dig doing it. So...
Yeah. So, Dave, I guess before we start getting into the specifics, because we will, give me a quick
an
gut
unsettling
check.
degree of specifics.
Give me a quick gut check. Like, how would you like it? We've watched 5 of these now. Like, what are your sort of preliminary takeaways so we can sort of set the stage for the rest of this discussion? So
yeah,
we'll
for sure.
know where we're coming from.
So, okay, before I actually say anything, and this is the caveat I think we do every year, even if it sounds like we're saying some negative stuff about the season, we really enjoy... There hasn't been a season of Sentai that I've been like, this is garbage, and I hated watching it, and I wish we had never done it. Like, I like all of these seasons. So, really, yeah, this is all, this is all ranking within the context of Sentai, which I already really enjoyed. So, that being said, it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't... Well, okay, wait, let me take that back, actually. I liked it. I did like it.
Good. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
spent a year on it. It would be disappointing to find out now that you didn't enjoy yourself.
As I say, even within the context of Sentai, I enjoyed it. So like it was better than... I liked it better than O-Ranger. I'll say that much. Although O-Ranger did have its moments, obviously.
O-Ranger did have its moments. O-Ranger ended super well.
Yeah, it did end super well. So
and started super well. It had a rough most of the middle. No, I mean, listen, I liked O-Ranger as well. But I like this better than O-Ranger.
Here's what I think I'll say about Carranger. Carranger is a weird one because it was supposed to be... And it is very much by design a spoof on Sentai, and it like messes around with and goofs on the like extremely formulaic tropes that Sentai kind of relies on. Now, so I think what I would say is, as a like meta joke for like if you watch Sentai, here are some very silly things, and we're all going to like enjoy the fact that they're silly together and kind of poke fun at them in that way, but in like a loving way. That was fantastic. Yoshio Urasawa, who's like the head writer on this season, I think very clearly knew what he was doing and did a fantastic job of like doing that part of it. As an actual Sentai series, like if this was my first foray into Sentai, like obviously like maybe in that sense like it wouldn't be like, you're not meant, it's not for you in that way,
right? But honestly, like if I was a kid and this was the first, if I was a kid and this was the first season I watched, like I would be a kid and watching
precisely,
superheroes, and it would still be fun. But even if this was like the second or third season, like the jokes are not super deep cuts, right? Like you get the humor of this if you have even sort of a passing familiarity with the Sentai formula, it feels like.
Yeah, I think that is fair to say. And so, yeah, like this one half of it I really, really dug. And then the other half of it is like, it was fine. It was a fun season of Sentai. It was not like a real standout in the way that, like, say, like Dairanger or Jetman was.
Right.
The one thing I will say for Carranger, I feel like they paid a lot more attention as an overall... As an average, I feel like they paid a lot of more attention to the giant robot fights in this show. I think they did a lot more like weird, interesting, fun stuff with that. Like there was this one where Kyousuke's like fighting a dude on top of RV Robo. Like that was very cool. Like the choreography for those things, the giant robots, tended to be a lot cooler.
Well, but unfortunately, I think the trade-off of that is when they weren't in the giant robots, the fight choreography was really nothing to write home about.
Yeah, it was sort of like actively boring.
Like the fight choreography in Jetman, I think, did great storytelling, even when the actual choreography wasn't amazing. I think the fight choreography in Carranger and especially Dairanger are really good.
Yeah, those are both very, very good.
And in O-Ranger, the fight choreography itself is fine, but I remember the way that those fight scenes were shot, like just like the camera work during
they were doing
scenes.
A lot of like
really
long shots and like circling around buildings to see like different elements of the fight. It was really
that doesn't happen in Carranger.
Yeah, the person fight seemed very much sort of like an afterthought. So
even
I felt
the
like
chase,
that was...
even like the driving around chase stuff is not filmed in a particularly exciting way, which is disappointing for a show that is at least theoretically centered around cars.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess that's kind of, we've sort of been talking about it. But how about you, man? Like, where's your, sort of where are you at with this guy?
It's fine.
It's fine.
No, I agree with you in a lot of ways. I think it was a very fun show. I think that the things that it did well, it did really well. I don't think it tried to do things... I don't think that there's anything in the show where it tried to do something and failed. I think that the things it went for, it succeeded in. And the other things, it just kind of didn't care about.
That's a very good way to say it. It did seem, everything that they weren't actively trying to do did end up seeming a bit like an afterthought. So, okay, so that's sort of the season as a whole, Matt. So the next thing that we do is that we just take a look. We kind of break it down piece by piece, element by element, and we kind of rank it and talk about the different specifics. So the first guy we're going to talk about is... the man, the myth, the legend, Dapu. He's not a man. He's a child.
The child, the myth, the legend. The last Hazardian.
Almost, sort of. Except
the
penultimate one.
The penultimate Hazardian.
Yeah, who is an actual man, myth, and legend. Dapu.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that guy was the lone wolf of the universe.
Yeah, so we go through, we kind of chat about the other... mentor characters, because there's always one of these mentor characters. There's always a...
Yes.
Thankfully, there's not always a Dapu, but there is always a Dapu-shaped hole that someone can...
There's a Dapu-shaped hole in all of our hearts, Dave.
So, okay, so Dapu himself, he's a weird one.
He is a weird one, because here's the thing. Dapu does function as their, guide mentor character, but only sometimes.
Well, he's a kid.
Dapu is a bad mentor, but actually a pretty good character.
Okay, so this is the thing I think
he's bad at his job, but he's not a bad part of the TV show.
So here's the thing, and this is tough for me. But I think when we're talking about this, we have to do our best to sort of divorce the character of Dapu from the character design of Dapu and the horrifying foam rubber, like flesh Yoda puppet that he is. So, like, if you can sort of imagine Dapu, like, try to transpose Dapu into something that doesn't look so awful, and then sort of think about his character.
Or even just imagine what, like, the platonic ideal of Dapu. Because Dapu, like, the idea of his design...
I guess the drawing isn't weird.
Is kind of like I mean, it's sort of like a baby Yoda. And that's all the rage right now.
So, here's what I think is actually very cool about Dapu. I feel like they did a great job of getting in the idea that Dapu is a kid, but that he is a kid who's like from an alien race, so he's not exactly like an Earth kid, and he is also a kid that is dealing with stuff that is in many ways sort of like way beyond his pay grade. Right? Like, in theory, VRV Master should have been the dude who was kind of there from the beginning, but for whatever reason, he wasn't. And I feel like Dapu really captures that very, very well. Like, he's doing stuff, and he's like a young teenager, but also you never forget that.
Right, yeah.
We don't. The Rangers seem to pretty frequently.
Well,
but we, the audience, don't.
As I said throughout the show, until they meet VRV, they never see VRV Master without his helmet, right?
Yeah, no, they don't.
I guess at the end they get to know the fact that VRV Master is Dapu's dad, and then, I don't know, the idea that they are aware that he is 12 really sort of feels nebulous to me. Like, I think that maybe they think he is 16.
Yeah,
he's definitely like a little younger than them, but because when he shows up, he's like, hey, I am like this alien who has all this extra knowledge and you have to listen to me, and here's all your superpowers and your giant robots. Like, they don't respond to him as though he's a kid. And I think that, like, he sort of responds to that energy in a way where, like, when he has to act like an adult, he can, but then when he is presented with an opportunity to not have to act that way, like, as the Rangers become more responsible, when Signal Man is there to help, especially when VRV Master shows up, he kind of reverts a little bit to acting more like a kid. And I think if it was being written that way on purpose, I think that's a very interesting character, like, way to write that character.
I think you can give him the credit for that. He's also kind of weird because, like, his as you're sort of saying, his like competency changes sort of depending on what they need him narratively to be able to do. Like, with other with other like mentor characters, they will sort of enter or exit the scene as necessary, or like they will be more or less present in the series as necessary, but like what they are capable of doing as characters is like pretty static, whereas Dapu is kind of always there.
Yeah, Dapu is more a like member of the group than, say, like a Kaku, or certainly like a Sandaiyu is. Sandaiyu is the guy who was in Carranger, but only in like a third of the episodes.
Well, he like actively dies. Like, he like it's part of the story. Like, he dies or something. So
does Sandaiyu die?
I'm pretty sure he does. He like
I forget so much of these series the second we start on a new series.
Yeah, no, Sandaiyu goes to like, he does a sort of like last stand, like, I'll hold them off here, like, you guys run sort of thing, and like, I'm pretty sure that dude dies. I might be making that up. So for our mentor characters,
dude, I forget about the old shows so much that when I was doing a quick re-listen of our wrap up to Ohranger, and I had completely forgotten about the character of Gun Majin, who is in like 8 episodes.
Oh, dude. Wow, yeah, Gun Majin. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, he's stabbed to death by his own sword.
Oh, cool. Way to go, Sandaiyu.
By Young Noble Jr. Young Noble Jr. does it.
Oh, then he must be out of the show. He must have been out of that show early. Because Young Noble Jr. does not last that whole show.
No, he doesn't.
Sadly.
No, Sunday is out in he's out in the first. Oh no, he makes it episode 31. It says. So
anyway,
our mentor character so far, and this is in order because we've done this ranking in the past, is the Chief from Jetman,
of course,
who we love forever and is amazing. She is. Man, I kind of don't want to spoil too much for you if this is your first season and you're planning on going back and listening to previous seasons. The Chief rules. She rules at the beginning, and she never stops ruling. She's so great. I love her so much. So the Chief is number 1. She's up at the top. After that is Master Kaku, who is the mentor character
from Dairanger. He was great. He was secretly one of from the race of evil villains and had defected to the side of good generations ago. And then there's this twist at the end where they find out about it, and then they have to fight him when he's reluctantly brought back into the side of evil. But dude, Kaku is great. Kaku also does throw a machete at the Red Ranger's head in the beginning of the first episode.
Well, he doesn't throw it
Tough love.
much as he sort of telekinetically shoves it at him real. He doesn't overhand toss it, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Chi blasts it at him.
He uses magic to almost stab Rio in the head. It's a heck of an introduction, Kaku.
Yeah, it's an awesome introduction because what's great about it is he's just you dodged. You must be the Red Ranger. You have great die power in you. Which did lead us to question how many potential candidates did he go through before he realized that this dude was the guy. So underneath that is at spot number 3 right now is the Chief from O-Ranger. He has a longer title, but they just call him Chief for most of it.
He is great when he is in the show, but he sort of comes and goes. In the moments where they give him a lot to do, he's really great. He's actually it is the actor who played the Blue Ranger in the very first season of Sentai.
Yeah, that dude actually has been around. He did that, and he also was in not a Kamen Rider series, Metal Hero.
I think it was in Gekisou as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was in Gekisou. He may have been. Yeah, I think he was in Gekisou, and then he was in a Metal Hero series, and he may have done a Kamen Rider series as well. I'm not sure about that, but that dude's been doing tokusatsu stuff forever. So, yeah, as Matt said, he has these amazing moments, but he's just not in a really large percentage of the episode. And then that actually brings us down to Sandayu, who's at slot number 4. In the same way, he's a fun character. He's a weird sort of wandering samurai dude who just sort of shows up and says some mysterious things and blasts a dude with his sword. He's neat. But he's just not very present, and then he does die in the 30th episode. So then he's just absolutely not present. He's just gone. So he's number 4, not necessarily because we don't like him. He's just kind of not there very much.
So on that list, where do you think Dapu goes?
Okay,
Dapu can be either repulsive or annoying sometimes. But he isn't a bad character. And also, in those first 2 episodes, when he first, he shows... The problem with Dapu is that he has such a strong start and then never reclaims it. Because in the first 2 episodes... I don't know,
at the very, very end, he's great.
Okay, that's true. But in the first 2 episodes, he's, the last survivor of an exploded planet. He just strolls into the evil bar, jumps up on top of the bar, tells everyone that he's going to destroy them with car magic, teleports to Earth.
Then just starts blasting.
Right, gathers a bunch of people to him, and then when they refuse to fight, he, goes into action by himself against Zelmoda.
Yeah.
It's very good. And then he kind of hangs out in the garage for a season.
Right. And then he has a lot of what makes him really cool is he's got this very... Well, we talked about Dapu a lot already, but he has a lot of fun characteristics, and his arc as a character is very cool. But he doesn't he never reclaims that totally baller rolling in and just wrecking fools vibe that he had before.
So what do you think? Below the O-Ranger chief, but above Sandaiyu?
Yeah, I was gonna say I gotta start from the bottom of this. Like he's not a chief from Jetman, obviously. He's not Master Kaku. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for him because even at his best moments, he's a cool character because he is very like empathetic, and you really you could kind of feel for him. But I never looked it up and be like, oh man, like holy cats! Like he doesn't lead a secret rebellion while the Carrangers are busy, which is what the chief from O-Ranger does.
Yeah.
But he is better than Sandaiyu, who is fun and kind of cool, but is sort of a non-persona non grata.
Yeah.
So
okay.
yeah, I'd say I think spot number 4 is a good spot for Dapu there.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about next? The villains?
Yeah.
Okay, now
just real quickly, sorry, I did use the phrase persona non grata. That is not what I meant. I used that wrong. He's just not there.
Okay.
I don't hate him, I don't use the phrase persona non grata a lot, and I am suddenly afraid that I've been using it wrong just forever. Because what it actually means is an unacceptable or unwelcome person, not an absent person. So
regardless.
Regardless. Okay, so he's just not there. So anyways, boss list. So this is a much longer list, and I feel like we might want to run through it real quickly, kind of with who's on there right now.
Yeah.
So at the very top of the bosses and lieutenants is Gray from Jetman, who is a robot who likes to smoke and listen to classical music and falls in love with maybe not a human woman, but falls in love and has this amazing rivalry with one of the Rangers. Gray's fantastic. Below him actually is Young Noble Jr. from O-Ranger. He was one of the highlights, I think, of O-Ranger.
Absolutely. Young Noble Jr. is the son of the actual main villain. He's like a skeleton soldier man with an electric guitar who turns everything. Everything turns to skulls, Tave.
Yeah, just
when
so
he
I
is
think
around.
he's got a song about it.
Oh yeah, he has got a whole music video about it. He has a castle full of mist. And
he's got
a
cats
team
that turn
of
into
evil
ninjas.
Rangers. Yeah.
Below him is Radiguet from Jetman, also. And then Shadam from Ranger. And they're just both they're very good villains. They're very menacing. They develop sort of rivalries with the Rangers. They each have sort of a handful of empathetic moments. I think Radiguet more than Shadam, which is why he's higher on the list. And then Shadam is also very high on the list just for sheer balls out craziness.
Yeah.
He's a madman and I love it. Below him,
are we going to go this is a long list. Are we going to go through every bit of it?
No, I guess we don't really need to.
The bottom of the list, so you get an idea as to who's down there, is Bomber the Great from O-Ranger, who is actually pretty cool, but is only in 10 episodes.
Yep.
So we sort of had to ding him points for just actual output. And then you get characters like Zydos, who listen, Zydos was definitely one of the 3 main villains through most of Ranger, but he's he's the Goldar to Shadam's Rita Repulsa, right? He's there, but he's the lower tier. And then Empress
for sure.
Multiwa, who straight up, I don't remember who Empress Multiwa is. Was that also O-Ranger?
It is O-Ranger. She starts off as Princess Multiwa, if that helps you.
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
She starts off, she's the bride of Kaiser / Prince Bulldown.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we got to start with Grotch and Zelmoda. So
honestly, does Grotch even make the list? Zelmoda, yes, I feel is enough of a character to get on the list. Grotch isn't even a Goldar. Grotch is a Finster.
Yeah, okay, that's
He's
true.
like a squatting babu. He's around, but I don't know if we need to bother putting him on the list.
Okay, yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think Grotch, he needs a spot. So, Zelmoda. I'm kind of starting from the bottom up with Zelmoda. He's not he's not in that top tier for me. He's got a horrifying look. He looks very, very bad, and I don't like to look at him ever.
Right.
Same, he's a villain, so I guess that sort of works in his favor. But like
Sure.
This dude's face is, if you have watched Power Rangers, I didn't know this, Matt told me this. If you've watched Power Rangers and you watched whatever the season that Power Rangers is based on, whatever
Turbo.
season of Power Rangers is based on,
Although
Turbo?
he actually sticks around after Turbo.
Oh, does he? But didn't you tell me they actually had to change, like they got a different mask for him because
Yes,
his face is so unsettling.
The face looks similar to how it looks in the Sentai, but they make him look a little more goofy. The same way that when Dynamo got moved over to Power Rangers, they changed his face a little bit and got rid of like his weird long tongue.
Yeah, that's probably good. So I definitely like him better than Empress / Princess Multiwa, who's just like a non-entity.
Yeah, and I probably like him better than Zydos. Like, remember that time that he rode his motorcycle so fast that he broke through the Speed Force and like got evil,
that is very good,
and like freed a like dirt bike genie to give him superpowers.
That was excellent. But then he does betray President Dynamo, and he also pulls that move where he pretends to be VRV Master, and that makes me hate him a lot.
Yeah.
So, but I do like him better than Zydos. Okay, so then we're up into Bomber the Great, and then Akamaru from Dairanger. Actually, I don't think we're even going to get to Akamaru. I don't think he's as cool as Bomber the Great.
No, yeah, like Bomber the Great's in a weird spot because I actually do really like him. We had to ding him on like just number of appearances.
He's only in like 9 episodes or something.
Even though Zelmoda's in the show a lot, I don't think any time that he's in the show is as cool as like the combined episodes of Bomber the Great.
Yeah. So, okay. So I think that's a fine spot for him. So he comes in just underneath Bomber the Great. And then who do we have?
Let's see.
We got
Because
President Dynamo.
I want to end with Dynamo.
Who else? Well, there's what's his name? The mid-season, like the
Richie
Big guy.
Hiker,
Richie
Instructor
Hiker.
Richie Hiker.
Thank you. Totally forgot about that guy for a second.
Well, Richie Hiker's weird. He shows up in like episode 8, and then in like episode 15 or whatever, he absorbs all of the evil energy in the universe. And
that's a very good moment for him.
Right, and then he like gets a different color scheme, and he takes over the Bozoke and kicks out Dynamo, and Dynamo has to like go down to Earth and get a job at a
Korean
pachinko
barbecue.
parlor.
Oh, that's right.
And you think that that's how the whole season is going to go, and then like 2 episodes later, Richie Hiker is dead, and Dynamo is back on Barabarian.
Like, dead kind of out of nowhere. You're like, wait, that can't possibly be the end of Instructor Richie Hiker, and it totally is.
But I like him. He's an interesting like sidestep mid-season, and I also liked his dynamic with the Bozoke before he turned like super evil. Like when he was just kind of bad at his job and fleecing them for just like to get more money for continuing to be their evil consultant, because he was like an outside consultant. He wasn't part of the gang.
That's right.
And and Dynamo like acknowledged that he wasn't that good, but he had such reasonable rates that he just couldn't move on from him.
Like, how can I pass it up? He's so reasonably priced.
So I think he's better. He certainly made more of an impact than Zelmoda. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. So, okay, so like starting up from the bottom, I would say, like, he's definitely better than Princess Multiwa. He's definitely better than Zydos. He's definitely better than Zelmoda. Okay, up into Bomber the Great, because I think that's actually a very good spot, like where he might start floating around, because they kind of fulfill in many ways the same function.
Yeah, they pop in the middle, they leave kind of suddenly, but they make a big impact while they're there. They shake stuff up on the villain side of things. Comparing the two of them, I think I like him better than Bomber the Great, honestly, because there's more of a ramp up to him being there.
Yeah,
right.
And also he doesn't try to like kill a child.
Oh yeah, that's big.
Yeah, which Bomber the Great definitely does try to like murder Prince Bulldout. And I hate Prince Bulldout, but he is still a robot child with a bulldog face. So, you know. Yeah, I think it is cooler. I think he's got a cooler origin, which is like I absorbed all the evil power in the universe / like I'm a villain consultant, as opposed to Bomber the Great, whose origin I think is just like I tried to take over before and I got launched away and now I'm back to fight you nerds.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's better than Instructor Richie Hiker. Then we're up into Akamaru. Or sorry, he's better than Bomber the Great. Then we got Akamaru. Akamaru is from Ranger.
Yeah.
And he is like someone's evil son.
Yeah, he's an evil son. He's also an evil brother.
Oh, that's right.
And I feel like Akamaru is like much more central to Ranger. Like you could have,
he's around a lot,
right? Like you could have most of Carranger without Richie Hiker. You kind of can't remove Akamaru from Ranger and still have it work the same way.
Yeah, I think that's
even
fair,
because they do kill him, and then Goma the 15th.
It's like,
gets a fishing pole and drags him out of hell.
Yeah, like he's my favoriteest boy. I'm fishing him out of hell. Okay, so I think I think he's gonna sit. Instructor Richie Hiker is just below Akamaru and just above Bomber the Great. Okay, so now we have the person who is I guess objective. This is always weird to me. I guess it's not weird. It makes sense, but the characters that end up being the big monster, like the really big bad guy, are often actually a lot less interesting than the sort of like sub-villains that come before them.
Right. Well, I think what happens is, so like we're talking about the Reckless Dash Emperor exhaust, right?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so like the thing is that I think it has to do with the structure of the show, because you want to have something come and shake stuff up near the end of the series. Like, now here's like the even more powerful evil dude that they have to fight. But the result of that is that guy's only around for 15 episodes, where Gynemo's around for 48. You know, so they have time and capacity to develop Gynemo in a way that even if they had wanted to put more time and effort into developing exhausts, and honestly, like, it does not seem like they were super interested in that, but even if they were, they just didn't have time.
Yeah.
And that's the same for Daimao from Carranger. It's the same for Goma the 15th from Ranger. Like,
man, Goma the 15th is so crazy.
Like, they are crazy and cool and, like, you know, interesting parts of those shows, but, you know, Goma the 15th is not as compelling a character as Shadam.
No, he's definitely not. Well, okay, so let's kind of sit. Like, I think we can say I like Reckless Dash Emperor Exhaust. He's more interesting than like Bomber the Great. He's got a plan, and I really, really like that.
It's a weird plan.
But the thing that I think about that I like about this is that he is not driven by just like, I'm gonna murder everyone, or like I'm gonna destroy the universe, or like I'm gonna conquer this universe, because like that's just kind of my thing that I do. He's no,
he is powered by all the evil in the universe. He's the emperor of all the evil in the universe. But
oh yeah, he definitely is. I don't want to say that he's not.
But his plan is more like his plan is to make like a giant intergalactic highway with no traffic laws and just have it be chaos. Like, he is much more interested in being reckless than he is in evil. Like, he's not evil Dash Emperor Exhaust. He is reckless Dash Emperor Exhaust.
And good point. It's right there in the name.
Yeah, like, that gives him an interesting sort of position on this list that other people wouldn't necessarily have.
Yeah. He is a very, very bad man, though.
Oh, sure.
So okay, I think he's cooler than, say, like, yeah, he is cooler than Bomb the Great. He's cooler than Instructor Richie Hiker. He is a main villain, so I think that puts him above Akamaru. So then we're into the sort of like Transa, Goma the 15th space.
I think that the transition of Tran into Transa is interesting, and I think that he plays a cool part in the show. But also, like, prior to being Transa, I think that Tran is, like, the least compelling of the four Vyram.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah,
okay.
I kind of got to dig him points for that. So I think that maybe Exhaust goes above Tran/Transa.
As I'm kind of going up into the list, then we're getting into, like, Dowager Empress Hysteria, Kaiser Bulldown. I think Dowager Empress Hysteria is she's my ceiling for this dude. Like, he's not as good as her.
Hysteria became a, like, actually surprisingly compelling character by the end of the series, especially in those last few episodes.
She starts off very boring, and then, like, as it goes, she's getting, like, more and more invested in, like, her son as the emperor, and then, like, when Bacchus Wrath dies, she's crazy and she's evil, but she did care about her husband, and she does care about her son. Like, obviously, in a crazy and evil way.
Sure.
In a very sort of like Roman emperor, like, I will raise my child to go back and like crush everyone who's ever hurt me, sort of vibe. But like it's a good look family. On her. Like, it works, right? Like, she's a pretty rad character. So he's definitely not as cool as her. So then it just kind of is Reckless Dash Emperor Exhaust versus Goma the 15th. I love Goma the 15th. He's an insane Eggman with that floats around in like a geometric void
and has like pinwheel he's got like weird pinwheel stuff going on, and also like it's kind of unclear as to whether or not he's a real person or made out of clay. And he does fish a Kamaru out of hell.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta tell you, I think Goma the 15th is better than Reckless Dash Emperor Exhaust.
I think he is.
Before we started talking about it, I probably would have put Exhaust higher, just maybe because of like recency bias. But I think Goma the 15th is better.
I think he is, and he's around a lot. Reckless Dash Emperor Exhaust is kind of funny because he's a villain that like hates the other villains and like looks down on them, and there's some comedy there. But Goma the 15th is just buck wild. I think I got to give it to Goma the 15th.
Yeah.
All right, so that puts Reckless Dash Emperor Exhaust at slot number... What is that? 13, it looks like. Okay. So now we've got our boy, President Dynamo. President Dynamo rules. I love President Dynamo.
President Dynamo does rule.
Okay.
That's the thing about President Dynamo.
He's great. And I think one of the things I love President Dynamo in a lot the same way that I love like the Three Stooges from Die Ranger. Like, he is a villain, yes. But he's not primarily motivated by, nor as far as I can tell is like even terribly interested in villainy. Like, he does blow up planets. Like, he blows up the planet Hazard. He's not a good dude. But we do find out later that he's sort of been manipulated into this by Exhaust. But he does still do it. But he's mostly interested in, like, kicking back and, like, drinking brews with his boys and trying to impress Zanet.
Right, like, he does have, like, an evil gang, but he uses it mostly to impress a girl he likes. And he does have an evil base, but it's mostly just a bar where he hangs out with his bros. And, like, at this point, you can tell that he has, like, built his life up to this point where this is what it is. But any time that he has the opportunity to, like, move away from that, he always seems to gravitate away. He's over it. He's, like, just at that part of his life where he's realizing he doesn't want to be, like, a biker gang leader forever, but kind of doesn't know how to quit.
Right, like when he has to leave, like when Instructor Hitchhiker kicks him out, like he does seem kind of like almost relieved. And then when he's when he's working at the pachinko parlor, it's like, this is actually kind of great. Like Zanette wants to go back, but I feel like even then, President Gynamo would have been pretty okay to stay at the pachinko parlor. And then he's got that amazing face turn at the end.
Right, where like in the last episode, he realizes that, Dash Emperor Exhaust has been playing him, and that Zanette sort of believes that he can be better than he is. And yeah, like he turns and like all the Bozokes start to help the Carrangers. And then as soon as it's all over, he doesn't... This is also what I like about Gynamo, is that in the epilogue, Gynamo doesn't like stay the leader of the Bozoke, but try to reform them. He just retires and gets a job at a barbecue joint.
He's like, I'm good, man. I just want to hand out kimchi. Like, it's cool. So yeah, I love this dude. So, having said all that, he's not gray. He's not at the top of the list. He's not gray. He's not Young Noble Jr.
Maria's really compelling.
Maria's super compelling.
But he's better than Gara. I'll say that. He's
definitely better than Gara.
I like Gara a lot. She's super petty.
I think she's actually most on the list due to like the intensity of her pettiness.
But I think that Gynamo is a more sort of fleshed out character, weirdly.
Yeah, in an odd way. Okay, so there's Empress Bacchus Wrath who's in there. Emperor Bacchus Wrath is also a very, very good villain.
Yeah, he's sneakily good, which is why he's
he's got like a big round pot body, and you think he's going to be a dumb villain when he shows up. And then he like cranks it to 11 and becomes actually very, very evil.
And then remember the time he survived as a head and then like in an asteroid somewhere, so that when his dying son finds the lab, he's able to like transmit
the
last of his life forms into Prince Bulldont to turn him into Kaiser Bulldont. Like,
and then doesn't he like summon like a sword of pure darkness from like the depths of an alternate dimension or something?
No, it's out of like the center of the earth, I think.
Oh man, yeah, okay. Emperor Bacchus Wrath is... I like Gynamo more, and I think he's a great character, but it is a villain list.
Yeah, and Bacchus Wrath is definitely a better villain than Gynamo.
Yeah. So President Gynamo comes in at spot number 7. So that's a pretty good showing.
Okay, so we've done the mentor, we've done the villains.
This is actually something I want to throw this out. We haven't done this before. I thought it would be fun, Matt, to go through and rank each individual ranger against their respective colors. So we're sort of creating kind of like a dream team, like a ranger dream team. Like, who's the best yellow ranger? Who's the best?
Okay.
We haven't done this before, so this will actually be a little bit like a 5 years we've been doing this show,
right?
So it'll be like a 5-season retrospective to sort of see where this lands. And I thought about it a little bit. So Red Rangers, Blue Rangers, and Yellow Rangers are always there.
Yeah.
And then you've got about a 50-50 split between Green Rangers and Black Rangers. And there are some differences in character, but there are a lot of similarities. So I think we can sort of rate the Green Rangers and Black Rangers together.
I think that's fair.
And then Pink and White are the same way. Like, you've almost always got either a Pink or a White Ranger, and they often fill, in many ways, sort of the same role on the team. And there's also 5 of them. So I think we can rank the Pink Rangers and the White Rangers together. So, do you want to start at our Red Rangers, or do you want to start at the sort of the green, black, pink, white end of the spectrum?
Let's start with red. I feel like that is sort of the natural starting. It's either the natural starting point or the natural ending point.
Yeah, you could flip a coin. Okay, so our Red Rangers so far, we've got Ryu from Jetman, Ryo from Dairanger. We have Sasuke from Carranger, Kyousuke from Carranger, of course, and then Goro from O-Ranger. Or I'm sorry, from O-Ranger. All right, so top of the list, obviously, it's got to be Ryu or Ryo.
Yeah, man,
Like, it has to be.
It's a
Like,
tough
they're
one,
so-
too. I'm not sure which one. Ryu is very good, obviously.
He's extremely good.
He goes through, like, there's the love triangle, and also, like
with him and Guy.
becoming friends with Guy, and then he gets
We're, like, their
married
best
in
friends.
the last episode.
Oh, dude.
And he has there's all the stuff with Maria.
His, like, unwavering dedication to being, like, the captain of the Jetman.
And also his, like, brief period of madness.
Oh, man, I forgot about that. Okay, so now hold up. Don't forget, though, Matt. Ryo has a really amazing rival in a way that Ryu doesn't. Because Ryo's rival is our number one villain, Jin the Demon Fist.
Oh, gosh, that is true.
Whereas, so, like, Ryu has he has a rival in Radiguet, but Radiguet is not, like, even though, like, Jin the Demon Fist is not on the list of, like, boss villains, because he isn't that, but if it were a ranking of boss villains, it would, like, he would be up there.
I mean, he's at the top of our list of regular villains, isn't he?
He's at the top of our monster list, and he would make a strong, I would say, top 3, top 5 showing on the boss list, despite not being a boss. There is an amazing rivalry in that season, but it's not Ryu's, it's Guy's.
Right, it's Guy and Gray.
So,
and Ryo also is like Dairanger Luke Skywalker, whose
dad is like Iron Mask's Choryu.
And he's like completely out of his element, and he just sort of like gets thrust into this leadership position and has to figure it out.
Okay, you know.
And then he wears that shirt made out of springs, and he trains real hard.
Oh, to fight Jin the Demon Fist.
No, that's when he was fighting. Oh, that was when he was fighting.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't that the time he was fighting the guy who, like, the man who was a pot who, like, trapped all the other dudes inside of him?
No, Daigo fights that dude and punches his way out.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, man, you know what? I think it's Ryo.
I mean, I feel like if we had this same conversation on a different day, it could go either way, frankly.
Yeah.
Because, like, there's a lot in both of those shows that's very good. I am drawn to Ryo over Ryu, but I really, it could go either way.
You know what? Me too. Let's say I think it's going to be Ryo. It's Ryo at the top. And then Ryu directly underneath us, just an incredibly strong second place. Okay, so then we've got Sasuke, Kyousuke, and Goro. I gotta say, I think Goro's the bottom of my list.
Yeah, Goro.
Not that I don't like Goro.
He's, like, again, has some good moments, does what he can with the material it's given to him. But of these 5 characters, he is the most just, like, cardboard cutout of a character.
Yeah, he's the captain, and he's the guy. Yeah. So Sasuke versus Kyousuke, I think I lean Sasuke. I think he's just a little bit more interested. Kyousuke has a great love interest with Zanet / Vanity Mirror Fanbelt.
Yeah, but
that is really, really good.
The thing is, like, aside from that, what does he have going on?
That's it. There isn't really much going on.
And again,
Sasuke, I think, is a much more. Yeah. Again, like all the seasons, I like all these characters. They're all great. But I think Sasuke has a lot more growth. He goes from, in the same way, like, had no idea, into being this, like, master ninja who's, like, doing all of this crazy stuff. Yeah. Aside from that, he doesn't really have much going on. Kyousuke, that is. So yeah, I think I gotta lean Sasuke. So I think it's Ryu, Sasuke number 3, Kyousuke number 4, Goro number 5.
Yeah, I think that works for me.
Yeah. All right. So Blue Rangers,
So obviously the best Blue Ranger of all time is Shoji.
I was going to say, that's a real easy layup. Shoji's number one.
Bullet Shoji, the Warrior of Love.
Oh my gosh, I love this dude. I would wear a t-shirt with that man on it. So then we've got Akko from Jetman, Yuji from O-Ranger, Naoki from Carranger, and then Saizo from Kakuranger. For me, Saizo's the bottom of that list.
Yeah, and again, every person who I put at the bottom of this list, I'm gonna feel badly about because, like, I like these guys, but
yeah,
like,
for sure, I don't feel good about putting anybody at the bottom, but like somebody's got to be.
But like Saizo and Seikai in Kakuranger.
Seikai is the Yellow Ranger.
They're both very underdeveloped. They kind of get paired together as like a comedy duo. It seems like a lot of the time. And you never get a chance for either of them to super develop.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So Saizo's down at the bottom. So we've got Akko, Yuji, and Naoki. I think Akko is.
Yeah, Akko
is my number 2.
She's like in high school and also a superhero, and also loves money so much.
Just loves that money so much.
Terrible
singer.
I had forgotten about the fact
that she's extremely greedy. Yeah, so she's great at number 2. I gotta say, I think now slide number 3 is my boy Yuji from O-Ranger. I really liked Yuji. Oh man, wait, just to cement Akko's space, she also her episode, she had some amazing villains. She had God Noodle, was a her villain, and then Trash Dimension was also a villain from her. And
also
those are both in like top 15.
Oh, I guess Diamond Dimension was sort of half an Akko thing, half a Kaori thing.
Yeah, he's pretty high on the list. I don't remember exactly where he is. But so again, Akko's number 2. I think Yuji's number 3. He's got more heart than Naoki did.
Yeah, when Naoki is good, he's good. There's that time where he has to like get cursed with an evil headband to train to become very good at riding a bicycle.
Yes, and he does. He works out super hard.
So he can like chase down and the leader of like an evil girl gang, which is great.
Okay, so I think this might be the toughest one for me. Because it's Yellow Rangers now, and I love Yellow Rangers, and all of these characters are very, 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 very good. So you've got Kazu from Die Ranger, and then Raita from Jetman, and then Seikai from Kakuranger, and then Juri from O-Ranger, and Natsumi from Carranger. And they're all super rad.
Yeah, why is it that the Yellow Rangers are always like one of the best characters of the season?
Okay, I can tell you why.
Okay.
This is why I think. Having done a lot of research about this, Yellow Rangers are in many ways like the heart and soul of the team. Like they are like cheerful heroes who kind of like keep going when everybody else is kind of flagging. They have like great appetites for life. They tend to be very like joyful characters.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a lot to like, right? Like Green Rangers tend to be like hot-headed and brash and like, or like mysterious and angry. And like, that's a cool character, but you're not like, oh, I love that guy. Like what a cool person. I would like to be their friend. Whereas like the Yellow Rangers, like you want to be their friend. Like you want to hang out with them. And that's why I think they're all just so great.
That makes sense because I do love all of these people. Like Raita is like he's a farmer. And he loves his farm, and he also loves the girl from his hometown, and he also kind of loves Kaori at some point.
I think just sort of as like a default, like he kind of. Man.
He's a very sweet man. He's afraid of the Great Tomato King, but he gets over his fear.
And Kazu also comes from the country, but takes like a totally different tack. Raita's like, I'm from the country and I love it and I can't wait to go back there. Kazu's like, I'm from the country and I do not like it. I am going to move to the city and be a hairdresser and the fanciest boy you've ever met.
Right, and like pretend that, and I'm still going to be a super nice guy, but I'm going to pretend that I'm less nice than I actually am.
Secretly be nice.
To like, keep up my persona. And then I'm going to befriend a magic turtle.
Okay. Oh, I forgot about the magic turtle. So, okay. So out of all of those, I think Seikai can go at the bottom. I like Seikai. He's a fun character. He has that funny bit where he like becomes a giant because he eats too many hamburgers or something.
Very good.
But aside from that, like he's just out of all of these, he's the least interesting.
If we're going bottom up on this one, then I think
we don't have to. I think he's an easy peg.
Well, no,
the rest of them are harder.
I think that number 4 is probably Natsumi. Like,
man, that feels very bad.
It does feel bad
me.
because Natsumi is, I feel like, maybe one of the best developed. Like, she might be one of my favorite of the Carrangers, but I don't think she's
definitely one of my favorite. My favorite Carrangers are Natsumi and Minoru. Like, definitely.
Oh yeah. But
oh, man, that is a bummer to put her at.
But like, which one of the other 3 is she better than? Juri?
No, definitely not.
Yeah,
no.
Like I love Natsumi. She's got a magic wrench, and she can like take apart a motorcycle as it is driving past her. But
I forgot. Oh man. Oh, and she has like an old man who she doesn't know his name. She just calls him Mr. Mechanic. No, okay. Yeah, I think she's got to be at 4. Well, I don't know. Okay, Kazu.
Kazu's the master of drunken boxing, Dave.
He does fight a drunk tofu man.
He gets into a drinking contest with the tofu man.
And he also is extremely fancy. And the actor has a twin brother, and they got the twin brother to come on the show to do some crazy. Okay, no,
and he controls time.
Oh, I forgot about that. I forgot the fact that he could control the flow of time itself.
Kazu is very good.
Okay. All right. So Natsumi's number 4. Okay, man. Raita and Kazu. Who comes out on top there?
The Battle of the Rural Boys. Again, this is a Ryu thing. Like, it could kind of go either way. One of them. Listen, what's better, drunken boxing or throwing a boulder? And also,
that's a real mood-dependent question, Matt.
I do want you to remember, Dave, that Raita at one point became like the hero of a clan of cave people back in caveman times.
Oh, he did do that. That's very, very true. Okay, now I think I got to give it to Raita. So we've got a sort of a fuzzy, like, Juri. Dude, straight up, Juri's the top of my list.
Really?
I love Juri.
Hey, listen, I love Juri too. Juri can, like, kick the head off of a thing with a very
strong head.
Yeah.
Juri. Okay, here's what I love about Juri. I love that Juri is a female character, but she's still definitely the Yellow Ranger, and just throws like the heaviest hands. Like she just cannot wait to punch you in the head, just like as hard as she can possibly do it.
Yeah,
and I love that.
There was the time where she had like that whole stash of like Rambo commando gear like in the woods that she went to go collect.
Yeah, but also like loves dolls. I just like you know what I think it might be? I think it's that Juri because she is from O-Ranger, and O-Ranger is kind of, I think, was one of the weaker seasons we've seen, and the characters in it weren't as developed. And against that background, Juri shone so bright. Like, every time there was a Juri episode, I was excited. Every time she was on screen, like, I was stoked. Like,
okay. I mean, hey, listen.
Yeah, she was a beauty and a beast together. Like, Juri rules.
Okay, well, let's put Juri at the top.
You know what it is? She reminds me of the Chief. She reminds me a lot of the Chief from Jetman. Like, they have a very similar vibe and energy.
Yeah, I can dig that. So,
Juri is my top. I think Raita and Kazu's just below Raita as a very, very close third.
Okay, so that's our Yellow Rangers.
So, yeah, so it's Juri, Raita, Kazu, Natsumi, and Seikai. Green Black Rangers.
Okay, well, obviously Guy is the top of this list.
Yeah, that's not even, we don't even need to talk about the rest of it. Well, okay, let me list the Rangers first. You've got Daigo from Jetman. Sorry, Daigo from Ranger. The show's not named after him. That's just a coincidence. Daigo from Ranger, Guy from Jetman, Jiraiya from Ranger, and then Shohei from O-Ranger, and then Minoru from Carranger. So now, Matt, out of the Green Black Rangers, who's at the very top?
It's Guy, obviously.
It's obviously Guy. He's so amazing. He's the coolest guy. He's one of the best characters in all of Sentai. He's got that amazing rivalry with Ryu.
He's got that amazing shirt.
He's got that amazing shirt.
He's
got a rivalry
saxophone.
with Ryu. And he's got a rivalry with Gray, who is a #1 villain.
Yeah. He
then
dies at the end.
He dies at the end, and then he comes back as a ghost like 30 years later. Guy is so good.
Guy is so good.
Okay, so Guy's at the top. I feel like for me the 2-3 slot is gonna be Daigo and Jiraiya. I like Minoru a lot. I really do. He's one of my favorite Carrangers. He might actually be my favorite Carranger, even over Natsumi.
I like Minoru more than I like Shohei.
I do like Minoru more. The Shohei is kind of thanks for being here.
He's got the O-Ranger problem, where like all those characters are kind of underdeveloped.
Yeah, okay. So Shohei's at the bottom. I think Minoru's above that, but he's not a Daigo or a Jiraiya.
No, I mean Jiraiya is a ninja cowboy, like a Japanese American ninja cowboy who's on a quest to
I think it is more accurate to say
for his dead father, who was a cop who was murdered by his partner, who was a monster secretly.
Yes, I think it is more accurate to say when you say Japanese American, he is an American person of Japanese descent. Like, he speaks Japanese, but that dude also he's from America.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. Also, he is a toad cowboy ninja man.
Yes.
And
sometimes
that's
with
amazing.
rollerblades.
Sometimes with rollerblades. Daigo does punch his way out of hell and has a love relationship with like a mystical peacock lady, and also he works at a pet shop because he loves animals so much.
Daigo is extremely good. He is a very Daigo actually sort of in a flip-flopped way from Juri maybe. Daigo is like extremely like hard and also surprisingly soft in a way that I think makes him a very like interesting dude.
Yeah.
There's Jiraiya has a lot of stuff going on with him, but I think that Daigo is a more compelling character.
Compelling character. I'm down with that. So Daigo at number 2, Jiraiya at slot number 3. Okay, and then our pink and white Rangers. We have Rin. It's like this like LRH sound that I can't make. Rin is her anglicized name. Sorry. Rin from Ranger, and then Kaori from Jetman, Tsuruhime from Ranger, Momo from O-Ranger, and Yuko from Carranger. I think Yuko's the bottom of that list.
Yuko is the bottom of that list. Yuko is also the bottom of the Carranger list. Like, nothing against Yuko, but there's nothing to her.
I think she suffers more acutely from a kind of a generalized problem of Pink Rangers, which is that too often their personality, at least in these seasons, is just girl. Like, we have to have a girl here, and you're going to be like the girly girl. But like, they never do anything like beyond that. Like, Natsumi's definitely a girl and does do like some, I guess, stereotypically girly stuff, but she's got more going on than just that. Akko's the same way.
I could tell you 3 things about Natsumi. I couldn't tell you anything about Yoko, and we just finished the season.
Yeah. So Yuko's at the bottom of that list.
I know she's the accountant.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so we've got, as I said, we've got Rin, Kaori, Tsuruhime, and Momo.
Rin is nothing but wasted potential. There was so much they could have done with Rin, because like in a show that was mostly centered around like Chinese kung fu and mythology, she was the character who like came from China and was like super connected to all that, and also like Ko,
uncle
her uncle
invented all their stuff.
Yeah, her uncle made all their equipment. Ko lived in her like loft. Like everything sort of centered around her, but she herself was. I keep saying that, like, describing people as underdeveloped, but she was definitely the most underdeveloped character in Dairanger.
No, I think that's very. I think that's very fair to say.
She was cool. You know,
yeah.
I liked her.
So where is she? Where is she as regards Momo? I think Momo is better.
Yeah, I think that Rin and Momo have the same sort of dynamic as Jiraiya and Daigo. Like, Rin's got a lot more stuff to her, but Momo always made for a more interesting episode.
Yeah. Yeah, Momo is a cool, and I think, again, I think Momo does kind of have the problem of like, oh, her personality is just sort of like girl. But I think that the people who were writing Momo paid a lot more attention to that and really thought about like, all right, if we're going to have this character and she is going to be like sort of very stereotypically feminine, what can we do with that that's more than just like being interested in like shopping in boys, which is kind of where Yuka was at.
Right,
like,
and like Momo is a character who had a life. She had like a past and, you know, hopes and dreams and preferences.
Yeah, and she had like, she was, well, we talked actually a lot about this when we were talking about writing the RPG and like the struggle of coming up with like a cool version of the Pink Ranger and like what does that look like. And I feel like Momo is in many ways like the best version of that. She is this sort of like heart of the team who has like who is like very powerful in her optimism and her care for other people, and I thought it was really cool. So she's definitely better than Rin. She's not as cool as Kaori or Tsuruhime.
No, Kaori and Tsuruhime, and I think it's interesting that we put the Pink and White Rangers together, but the Pink Rangers are all at the bottom, and Kaori and Tsuruhime are at the top. It's, you know,
Kaori and Momo are I'm sorry, I should say I think Tsuruhime is the number one. Like Tsuruhime rules. Like she's totally rad. She is in many ways like the de facto leader of the team.
I think that's fair. Kaori has a lot going for her, and she's got a cool arc. And she's got like a butler and a mansion, and the one time she buys every diamond in Tokyo to
every jewel,
just everything. Every jewel in Tokyo to overload like Akko's supernatural greed that's been like placed on her by Diamond Dimension. Kaori's very good.
Kaori is very good, but again, Tsuruhime, like even when Sasuke does fully take over as the leader of the team, Tsuruhime, like he defers to Tsuruhime in a lot of things. I think that's very, very cool. So Tsuruhime is the top of my list. Kaori is, I think the coolest thing about Kaori is her development from rich girl who just sort of like gets thrown into this thing, from that to like really dedicated hero. Yes. Like really dedicated and competent hero.
Yeah, no, she's very good. But, you know, Tsuruhime.
Yeah. Well, no. Tsuruhime's at the top. I'm sort of thinking about like Kaori versus Momo.
Oh, no, I think Kaori's better than Momo. Momo is good, but Kaori, like, there's all this stuff with Guy and all this stuff with Ryu. Like, all of that relationship stuff, like...
Oh, yeah,
again, I feel like all the characters from Jetman get a boost just because the show was much better written and much more, like, character-focused. So, like, the characters just do well on these lists.
Okay, so our dream team is Ryo and Shoji and Juri and Guy and Tsuruhime. And yeah, man, I'd watch the bejesus out of that series.
That would be a very good one. Our bottom is Goro, Saizo, Seikai, Shohei, and Yoko.
And I would probably skip that season.
I mean, I'd check out the first episode or two.
I'd watch the first episode of it, but I wouldn't be excited about it. Okay,
now here's a question. Of those 5, who do you think would be the breakout hit of the season? Like, if you were to, like, if there was a season with those 5 as the team.
The bottom 5?
Yeah. At the end of the season, who do you think you would look at and be like, that's the one. That's my favorite.
Shohei.
Yeah, definitely Shohei. 100%.
Yeah.
I don't know why it jumps out so much, but it's absolutely Shohei.
It's the eyebrows. He's just got the most heart, man.
Yeah.
He's got the most heart. Okay, so the last thing on our sort of like all season retrospective, Matt, is that we stack Carranger up against every other season of Sentai that we've watched.
Right.
So our list as of right now is Jetman is top of the list, and then Dairanger underneath that, and then Kakuranger, and then O-Ranger.
Now, I feel like it's going to have to go somewhere in the middle because I know it's not as good as Jetman, and I know it's better than O-Ranger.
It's definitely better than O-Ranger. It's not as good as Jetman. It's definitely not as good as Dairanger.
It's not as good as Dairanger. So is it better or worse than Kakuranger? And I think these are the 2 of the 5 seasons. Kakuranger is the season that Carranger is most similar to. Like, you know, sort of vibe-wise.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't think it's as good as Kakuranger. I think the villains in Kakuranger are better. Like, Kakuranger has our number 2 villain, which is Young Noble Jr. Which is huge.
Now, I will say that I think the reason that the villains are better in Kakuranger than they are in Carranger is because instead of getting a bunch of compelling villains, we got like Zanet and President Dynamo, who aren't, at the end of the series, aren't really villains.
Okay, yeah, that is a very good point.
We got good characters in those slots. They just didn't fill the villain role the same way that they did in Kakuranger. I don't disagree with you. I think that Kakuranger holds together better maybe than Carranger does.
You know, here's what I'll say, Matt. I think you're right. We did get great characters, even though they didn't really fill the villain slots. The problem with that is there wasn't a good villain. You know what I mean? And like Sentai does need, like, I like that Dynamo has a face turn, and I like that Zanet turns out to be Vanity Mirror Fan Bell, and I think that's cool. And as characters, I really like them. But Carranger does lack like a really solid unifying villain in like that Jetman did have, and that, you know, Kakuranger did have.
Yeah, and I think because Carranger is like a comedy series, maybe it's difficult to have like a legitimately spooky or like creepy villain in a comedy series, because, you know, if you had like a Daimao show up at the end of
like it would not make any sense.
Yeah, like it would be total whiplash, right?
Yeah.
So like Exhaust is kind of perfect because he's just like this big blob, like with the word evil written all over him. You know, metaphorically at least.
Right.
And he just sort of fills that slot and they fight him and they win. But yeah, there are parts of the show that I really like. I'm very glad we watched it. I will think back on it fondly forever, but I don't think it's better than Kakuranger.
No. So I think slide number 4. So it's better than O-Ranger. It's not as good as Kakuranger. And there we go, man. Thanks very much, Carranger.
Yeah, thank you, Carranger.
It's been a great time.
And thank you, Dave. And thank you,
Matt.
Listeners. Dave, this is the end of 5 seasons of the Super Sentai Brothers.
That is pretty wild that we have been doing this quite so long. I remember when we did episode 10, that it was a star that we were like, I can't believe we've actually done 10 episodes of this thing.
Dude, I remember.
And then we did the same thing at like 50 and 100.
I remember when we before we started doing the show, because originally we were just going to call the show Live and Let Die Ranger. And I think it was Mark recommended, like, well, what if you're going to want to do a second season? Like, you should give the show a different name and then give it subtitles so that you could keep going if by the end of 50 episodes you're actually going to keep doing it. And now we are at the end of, like, at least 250 regular episodes. It's probably closer to 275 with all, like, the Super Sentai buddies and extra bonus stuff. Which is wild.
It is. Yeah, that is nuts, man.
And thank you, listeners, whether this is your first season or your first episode, or if you've been with us the whole time. We very much enjoy bringing this show to you. Thank you, Mark, once again, for all of your hard work putting this stuff together. And also all of your hard work this year doing a bunch of bonus episodes with both
thanks.
Brian and your daughter Ivy, which have always been delightful. And also sometimes with me. Sometimes Mark and I do a bonus thing. Thank you, me. Great job. Anyway, Dave, I guess that's it. Do you have anything else before we want to wrap up?
You know what? I do not. I'm excited we're doing Mega Ranger next, right?
Yeah, Mega Ranger is next on our list. And that I think is going to be very good. I haven't taken notes for it, but I did watch the first episode a while ago just to sort of get a gauge for how it feels. And Dave, feels pretty good.
Nice.
Right. Well, anyway, that is going to do it then for the final episode of Licensed to Carranger. Before we finish up here, I'd like to remind you all you can email the show at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. You want to get any updates on future episodes or checking out what we're talking about on Twitter, we are at Super Sentai Bros. Dave, if anyone would like to get in on the playtest for Go Sentai Heroes, how would they do that?
You just email me at gosentaiheroes@gmail.com, and I will get the rules out to you and put you on the list for any future updates.
Right on. Folks, remember, if you like the show, please remember that shining in the iTunes review section, there are 5 stars. But more important than that, we're, as we've been saying, just about to start a new season. And a new season is always a great time to hop into the show. So, if you have been on the fence about recommending this show to any of your friends or acquaintances or enemies, now is a great time to do it. Let them know that we're going to be starting up Mega Ranger, and they can hop in without having to have any sort of prior knowledge of our podcast.
Yeah, particularly your enemies. It's a good way to mend bridges.
Yeah. Anyway, the Super Sentai Brothers are a production of Retrograde Orbit Radio. To listen to any of the other great Retrograde Orbit Radio shows, you can find us all at retrogradeorbitradio.com. Once again, we are the Super Sentai Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
And we'll see you next season for the greatest show on Earth.